It's over now, yet the tension has not left my body. My heart still hammers hard against my chest in an erratic rhythm, and my breathing still comes in short, shallow bursts. Before me, Kylie fumbles with her hands, utterly unsure of what to do to an adult in what's probably a laughable state.
Did you get sick? I'll call Tio, okay? Stay here and don't move.
No need. Just leave me alone.
Tio will know how to fix you. Oh wait, okay?
I wish I can speak reassurance, but I can't shake it off. The dread is there, twisting at my insides in anticipation. Of what? I am no longer sure. Pushing myself off the counter, I break off into a run, brushing off the anxious look Kylie gives me when I gently push her away on my way out, or the furrow in Luke's brows when I stumble into him outside. Whatever they both saw in my face, I care not to know. Bloody hell, I don't even understand what's happening anymore. So we almost died? But I'm not sure what happened though. It's like if someone was choking her, like. 1 second, guys. Alright. The tremors continue long after the last of my classes have ended. Although none of my students have commented on it, I've caught a few sharing anxious glances every time a pen slips from my hand or my shoulders tense whenever called. How unusual it must be for them to see the nobody composed Miss Gaze become a bundle of nerves. If the most blustering ones have given me less grief today. You'd think being on my 4th cup of tea would provide any sort of comfort. Or is it the 5th? Egad, why does counting matter now? The fact that I can't easily shake it off this time should tell me something. The last time this happened, I passed it off as some lapse in my part after having been sick the week before.
And it is a natural conclusion.
Those are just stories, a centuries-old lore passed by the locals to keep children in line. What place doesn't have those? One of my dad's book even went as far as to describe them as strong part of Isabella's culture. 3 giants, women, feed on unborn children straight from a mother's womb. Or hell, there's even that one story about a demon baby. All folklore that never had a smidgen of truth in it, most probably told to scare off the natives. They are back in the old days, much like every other places. The world is more universal than people care to think, but looking at it from where it stands now, after staring right into the eyes of that woman, after all the things that I've been hearing and feeling, perhaps there's really more to that bloody Laredo than some awful Halloween prank.
Perhaps Isabella's right all along.
A terrible thing, if true. Though that thought doesn't linger long, thankfully. Soon, the ringing of my mobile takes my attention away from it. Marianne, what? An unfamiliar name flashes before me once the screen lights up and my brows knit together. Marianne McCullough. Staring hard at the screen, I try to remember when I've entered this person on my contact list. At the library. Takes a moment, but when it clicks, my eyes zeroes in on the book lying wide open on the table. But Marianne was in trouble last chapter at the end. So how is she calling Rebecca? Loaned out from the library almost a week ago. I met the woman there by sheer coincidence, a fellow history buff apparently. We were after the same book, but in the end, she's given it to me under the condition that I call her once I'm done. To be honest, I've completely forgotten about it until now, and well, I have not really taken a peek at it until today. Normally, I'd be done with a whole volume of this side a few days after taking it out, about 1 or 2 depending on how busy I am. But finding a chance to sit down and read through it has been more difficult lately than I anticipated. One moment I'm busy simply grading worksheets, attending a movie premiere the next, and someone suddenly inviting me out for one reason or another. Days later, a friend stopped showing up in her flat right after worrying reports pop up in the local news. There simply is not enough time to breathe and get a grip on things, right? I have been flipping through the pages of the said book moments ago, though never really reading anything and merely hoping for a distraction. To no avail. My phone gives out another ring, and this time I do not hesitate to answer.
Marianne?
Hello! Here I was starting to wonder if it was a bad time to call. Is it?
No, not at all. I dismissed my last class a few minutes ago. I'm pretty much free for the rest of the afternoon. Unless something comes up. Is this about last time?
Not really. I was hoping to ask you about some other thing.
Other thing?
Oh, sure. What about?
You grew up in this city, didn't you?
It's a peculiar question to ask to someone you've just met, but I answer her nevertheless. I'm more curious where she's heading with this by starting with that.
Born and raised, 3rd generation migrant. Why do you ask?
So, you must be familiar with the local lore. The, stories?
Quite. If I'm going to teach about history, I'd like to think I am, yeah? But a family friend would be a better person to ask. If you want, I can contact him for you.
No, let's just keep this thing between us, okay? It's nothing too big. Alright. I really don't know how else to put this without sounding a bit crazy. But things have been really, odd. Do you remember the mansion I mentioned back when we met? My current project?
Mm-hmm. In hindsight, I should have expected it. It would lead to this. She must not have lived here long if she's just asking about this now. I did not take a week with Isabella when she arrived, but that's Isabella. Superstitious down to the last hair. Though it won't be too far off to think Marianne has only started thinking about this recently. She's working on the damn house itself. I must admit, even I'm curious now, despite living here for so many years and having so many chances to look it up before.
The Ermengarde mansion, yes?
Yes, that one. And, the thing is... Oh dear, this is a bad idea. You know what? Just forget I ever called you about this.
It must have been the sunny weather. It's making me sick, and I see stupid things. See things?
No, wait. It's alright, I don't mind.
There's a moment pause before she responds again. She's right in that. This is a silly thing to talk about, especially between what I assume two people who are pretty grounded on their beliefs with regards to these things. I won't blame her if she hesitates.
I can't believe I'm asking you about this.
It's fine. Why don't you just think of it as some form of research?
Well, alright. But after this, we're going to forget we ever had this talk.
My lips will be sealed. Now, what is it about the mansion?
I'm curious now.
Just, what do you know about it? The general gist. The place's past. What happened to the owners? Anything you can give me.
Let's see. To start off,
I do my best to give her a concise summary. From the time the house was commissioned 400 years ago and who had built it. Up to the point it got deserted after the last heir's death and the deed was passed on to the Ermengarde's nearest relatives. Frankly, if it were not for those urban legends persisting, the house would have already faded into obscurity long ago. Demolished even. These are all nothing she probably has not heard of before. Yet there's dissatisfaction in her tone once I finish.
That's all there really is to it?
as far as I know, there's this little bit I forgot to mention about Lady Charlotte Ermengarde's death, but most of those are just theories.
Ah, shit. Let's talk about that, please. Please.
Aside from that, this is really everything we've been teaching all these years. Should there be anything more?
No mention of any other weird stuff? Other crazy stories? Or a letter of some sort?
My blood runs cold. Any warmth and comfort the tea I've drank has given me prior has instantly been drained out of me. The phone creaks softly as my light hold on it turns into a firm grip. This whole little bush fight is starting to turn into more than coincidence.
None that I've heard or read of.
Oh, come on, you read one. What the hell?
What does a letter have to do with this?
You just have to admit it at some point, Jesus.
Oh, no. It was just something I came across. Ignore it. Random thoughts, you know? By the way, I need to run. Thanks for answering my questions.
She ends the call abruptly with only a clipped goodbye, leaving my mind heavy with even more thoughts. The mood around my classroom has gone considerably denser in light of what little I've gleaned from that conversation. I don't think Marianne's lying about her intent. Her interest is genuine, I'd give her that, but she's left a lot of things out. I get the sense she only asks because something's happening around her too. And if she hadn't mentioned the letter, I probably would not have made the connection.
Just what the hell did we get ourselves into?
Of course, there's still a lot of confusing details about it. All of these are just assumptions. No concrete conclusion to be formed with what we have and what we want to find out what we're really dealing with, I think. I think Marianne's right. There might be something more to those stories. As absurd as it sounds, the very place that gave us that letter might tell us something beyond what we know. And tomorrow night, I have a few hours of that chance at the house warming party. Totally not an exciting thought, since the place is privately owned now. I can't just wander around, but it's enough reason to keep the dread at bay as I step out of the room ready to put an end to this. However, all those good vibes disappear into thin air when I run into Luke. Head first, Luke. There's really something in this man. Regardless of how much my opinion of him has changed over the span of a few hours, he simply blasts through every good impression people has of him without care or thought. He doesn't even need to open his mouth, his mere presence does it. In all honesty, I think he's the kind of guy only a mother can love.
You're still here?
Obviously. Who do you think standing in front of you?
An ass.
Oh, come on, Daisy. You've done better than that.
Luke, I don't have time for this. I'm heading home, and your face is the last thing I want to see before I leave.
Ouch.
What do you want?
Belatedly, I notice his hand. Partly raised, almost poised for a knock. At the slight lift on an eyebrow, he quickly drops it into his side, and turns to Kai.